$40,000 invested into dividend stocks or ETFs historically has not been enough to generate any sort of significant monthly income, as the typical 1 to 5% yield that most dividend stocks and ETFs offer would never generate anything that significant. But in this video, we're going to go through an actual dividend income producing method in which any dividend investor could in theory invest $40,000 and earn around $2,500 per month. Yes, you heard me right, $40,000 invested to earn $2,500 every month. Now stay tuned until the end of this video, because this brand new strategy that we're going to go over is actually crazy. So the strategy and ETF that we're going to go over and talk about in this video is none other than ticker symbol TSLY, or the Yield Max Tesla Option Income Strategy. Now a little bit about this fund. The distribution rate as of August 1st is 76.63%. But stick around because we are going to dig into the dividends a little bit more in a minute here. The fund overview is that the Yield Max Tesla Option Income Strategy ETF, or TSLY, is an actively managed fund that seeks to generate monthly income by selling writing call options on Tesla. TSLY pursues a strategy that aims to harvest compelling yields while retaining capped participation in the price gains of Tesla. The ETF's investment objective. The fund's primary investment objective is to seek current income. The fund's secondary investment objective is to seek exposure to a share price of the common stock of Tesla, subject to a limit on potential investment gains. Some more very important information about this fund. This fund's inception was November 22nd of last year. So this fund is less than a year old. Keep in mind, there's not going to be all that much historical performance or data to go off of. But over time, we're going to continue to learn more and more about this ETF and all it has to offer. Now, the net assets have been growing like crazy. As of 8/1/2023, the net assets are $367.69 million. So getting close to the $500 million in net assets. Now, another thing that's very important for investors to notice is that the expense ratio is 0.99%. So with investing into TSLY, investors are not going to be getting that 0.06 expense ratio like you would get with SCHD. But that's obviously because this fund has an actively managed strategy that's pretty strategic and ever-changing. So for those of you that are still maybe a little bit confused on how this ETF works, this right here on the screen is Tesla. What this ETF does in theory is buys a basket of Tesla stock, then sells covered calls, generates some massive premium from doing so, and then uses that premium to pay massive dividends to the shareholders of the ETF on a monthly basis. But I get it, you're probably asking me next, well, how much has this ETF actually paid out since inception? And the dividends have actually been pretty wild since inception, with the last dividend payout being $1.07. And again, this is on a monthly paying ETF, which keep in mind, this ETF is around $16 per share. So $1 paid on a monthly basis is absolutely bananas. But to be fair and give some more insight, this fund back in June paid 80 cents. And back in May, it paid 44 cents per share per month. Before that, it paid 83, 90, 90, and $1 back at the beginning of this year. With all the dividends that it's paid over the last trailing 12 months, ticker symbol TSLY is currently at a 35.47% trailing 12-month dividend. And again, the last dividend that was paid as of July was $1.07. Now, of course, the hard part about investing into something like this, for an investor that wants more of a predictable amount paid to them every month or every quarter, this is maybe not the right investment vehicle for you. Because as you see, the dividend payouts are going to be sporadic. They're going to be maybe all over the place. Because again, it all depends on how Tesla trades within the given time frame. Because that's how the strategy works. Next, maybe looking at one of the more negative traits of TSLY, the Yield Max Tesla Option Income Strategy, is the price decay that the ETF has seen since inception. So since November, this ETF was trading at around $21, $22. Now as of recently, it's at $16.34. And as of the low of the 52-week range, this ETF saw as low as $12.53 per share, and $21.76 is at the high. Now, to be fair, obviously the dividend is going to make up for a lot of the loss. None of us are going to cry about our ETF losing some price value if our dividends are going to be massive along the way. For example, to look at this a little bit closer, looking at TSLY on a total return basis. Now, this is the price, the ETF performance, as well as the dividends that have been paid. So it's all in all, this is how much the fund has returned total. Over the last month, TSLY's returned minus 10% just about. Over the last 6 months, TSLY has returned 32.88%. Year to date, TSLY has returned 78.08%, which is incredible. In just 210 days, almost 80% return. So even if the fund lost a little bit of value, even if there's a massive expense ratio, I definitely cannot speak for all of us, but I would be more than happy with a year-to-date total return of 78+%. Now the fund has not been around for a year yet, but we're looking at around a 19% total return in 251 days, which once again, I wouldn't be crying over. Next, let's talk about the title of the video. I said that a $40,000 investment into this ETF could earn an investor around $2,500 on a monthly basis. Now, the way I got this figure was $40,000 divided by the current ETF price of TSLY, which is around $16.25. $40,000 would buy around 2,461 shares of TSLY. Now, as you guys saw earlier, TSLY is paying around $1.07 per share per month right now, or at least that's what it paid last month. Again, the forward dividend is going to depend on how Tesla and how the market trades ongoingly, what the premiums are going to look like, and if the market's going up or down, etc. But that being said, with a $40,000 investment into TSLY, last month investors would receive around $2,633 in dividends in a single month from investing into TSLY. So now the biggest question of all, is TSLY worth investing into, and have I yet dipped my toes into this YieldMax ETF? So first I can answer for myself. I have bought a few shares of the YieldMax ETFs. They have it for Tesla, they have it for I think Amazon and Apple, but this is not necessarily something that I personally would make up a large portion of my portfolio. And this is simply because I'm building for the most part more of a long-term, sort of boring, more conservative dividend growth portfolio. And I like to sort of be able to track and forecast an ongoing amount of income that I can assume to gather every single month. Now, I do hold names in my portfolio like JETP and JETQ, which also, to be fair, do pay a different amount of dividends on a monthly basis. Some months are massive, some months are tiny as of recently. But when it comes to these YieldMax option income ETFs, as far as the dividends that have been paid so far, they have looked pretty good, but I know that moving forward, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. And there's going to be months where the dividend might be big, it might be tiny, depending on, again, how the market trades. So that being said, will I be buying more shares of this option income ETF moving forward? I will definitely be buying a few shares here and there, but this again for me personally and my strategy will never make up a majority of my portfolio per se. Now, to be honest, me personally, I am a huge fan of the cover call strategy, and I do employ the cover call strategy throughout my large dividend stock portfolio. So that being said, to be able to get a slice of an option cover call strategy for about a 1% expense ratio doesn't seem like the worst idea that I've seen across the stock market. And for that reason alone, I definitely am a fan of these YieldMax option income strategy ETFs and will definitely be watching them closely moving forward. But I want to hear what you guys think down below when it comes to these newer YieldMax option income strategy ETFs. Are these something that you would hold in your portfolio? Let us know down below why or why not.